Good morning. How is everybody? All right? What do you have to do tomorrow, some of you? Go back to school. All right. So we kind of got busy here at Asbury this week, and we put away all of our Christmas decorations. Anybody have their Christmas decorations put away at your house? Some of you, yeah. Yeah, you never know. Well, we got really busy. We got them all away, but we left out one thing. What is that? The manger. The manger got left out. And so in the manger, the story tells us that's where Jesus was born. Yeah. That's what the story tells us. So would you do me a favor? Would you go up there and look at that manger for us? Okay? And just look at it. What's in there? What? Nothing. Nothing is in the manger. The baby's gone. Jesus is gone. And so we're kind of thinking, where did Jesus go? Does anybody know where Jesus went? Where do you think he went? Up in heaven? Well, yeah, eventually. Where'd he go? Did he back home? Yeah, kinda. Where do you think he went?
In our hearts.
In our hearts? Yeah, that's a good place for Jesus to go. Well, you listen to Charlene here, and she's going to tell us what Matthew says where Jesus went, and he goes two different places. See if you can listen to those two places where Jesus goes.
This is a reading from Matthew chapter 2, verses 13 through 16 and 19 through 23. Now after they had left, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Get up and take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." Then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother by night, and went to Egypt and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, "Out of Egypt I have called my son." When Herod saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, he was infuriated, and he sent and killed all the children in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had learned from the wise men. When Herod died, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who were seeking the child's life are dead." Then Joseph got up, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And after being warned in a dream, he went away to the district of Galilee. There he made his home in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled, "He will be called a Nazarene." Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God. So, Heather, how many places did you hear Jesus went to? Two? Two. Who can remember one of them? Egypt. Oh my gosh, that's great. Who can remember the other one? Israel. And the land of Galilee. And now here is the bonus question. All right, because I didn't ask you this. They went to Egypt and they went to Israel. And they lived in Nazareth. That's where they made their home. And who journeyed with them the whole time? Who was with them the whole time?
God.
There you go. That's great. God. That's all we need to know today. All right. Thanks for sharing. That actually comes from the musical Working. And if I'm right, the character Kate sings that in the musical. And she's reflecting upon her work. And her work is, as you heard, just a housewife. So in 1978, Mary Rogers, who would be Richard Rogers' daughter, Richard Rogers of the Broadway, Richard Rogers. And so Mary Rogers teamed up with James Taylor. That'd be quite a combination, wouldn't it? Mary Rogers and James Taylor. Go figure that combination. They got together with a bunch of other people, and they wrote the music and the words to Working. And Working opened on Broadway on May the 14th at the same theater that bears the name of Mary Rogers' father, the Richard Rogers Theater. It's on 46th Street. Does anybody know what's showing at the Richard Rogers Theater today? Somebody in the first service did. What is it? Hamilton, right. That's where Hamilton is showing on 46th Street. Well, Working opened just in time in May for the Tony Awards. The Tony Awards are always that first weekend in June. And so Working was nominated in 4 different categories, but it failed to win in any of the categories in which it was nominated. So what happens to a Broadway musical that opens on May 14th, the Tony Awards comes along, they don't win in any of the categories for which they're nominated, what happens the next day? It closes. It closes. After only 24 performances, Working closed on the 4th of June in 1978. But 42 years later, Working has had 9 different reincarnations. Most recently, last year in 2019, it was at the Newcastle Theatre in England. In 2011, Working was presented as a part of the Fringe Festival in LA. If you've ever heard of anything about the Fringe Festival, right? We have it here in Kansas City. Working was a part of the Fringe Festival in LA. Anything that's a part of the Fringe Festival means it achieves cult-like status. So Working kind of has its own following. It has its own following, and it connects. That's because it's a musical about work. It helps you reflect upon your work. You know, how do you feel about your work? How do you feel about your job tomorrow when you go off to it, if you go off to a job? Or if you're retired, how do you feel about getting up tomorrow and being in retirement and doing the work of retirement? You know, how do you feel about that? And Working asks this great question, I think, why am I doing this? Have you ever had a job where all of a sudden it just dawns on you and go, what am I doing? You know, and why am I doing this? So in the musical, there's a character by the name of Mike Dillard, is a steel worker. And Mike Dillard tells the story of his job and how dangerous it is. And then there's a character, El Kalinda. Do you know what El Kalinda does for a living? El Kalinda parks cars. That's what he does for a living. And he's parked cars since he was a kid. Now he's a middle-aged adult. And El Kalinda has come to the conclusion he's going to park cars for the rest of his life. Have you ever been in a job where you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this the rest of my life? This is it. This is it. He's going to park cars until the day he dies. Babe Scololi, you know what she does in Working? She checks groceries at the fictitious Treasure Island supermarket. And she sings a song complaining about her job because her job makes her tired. She goes home every night tired from her job. You ever had a job like that? Where you would go home every night? I remember when I was a junior in college, and that summer I needed a job, and so I took a job, and I decided that I was going to work with a lawn company and work on lawns. Do you know how many days I lasted? 2. It made me tired. Couldn't do it. It interfered. Just interfered with everything. Grace Clements is a mill worker. She sings a song hoping that no one will ever have to do her job. Frank and Dave Decker, they own Decker Brother Trucking Company. And Frank sings a song complaining that he never gets to see his family. You ever had a job that took you away at inopportune times from your family? So Working connects. Working connects. Now, when it comes to work, we United Methodists have this tradition that connects work to our faith. Or maybe it's the other way around, connects our faith to our work. John Wesley understood there's supposed to be a connection between the grace of God as manifested in the love of Jesus Christ in our faith, and that's supposed to be somehow connected to our work. Now, in a very simplistic way, the connection goes like this. Doing good in our work, is to be our response to that gift right there. Doing good in our work is to be our response to the gift of love that God gives us in Jesus Christ. So, let's just take, for instance, should you supervise an elementary lunchroom? Should that be your job? You're out there supervising an elementary lunchroom. And I bring that up because that's what my mother did for 42 years. My mother was an elementary administrator, and a part of her job was supervising the lunchroom every day. Now, doesn't that sound like fun? So, should you be an elementary lunchroom supervisor, in the best Wesleyan construct of work, you're supposed to supervise that lunchroom in a way that is connected to God's love. Wow. You think that would be easy? I think that would be a little challenging. What about the guy, Al Calindia, who's a parking lot attendant? He's supposed to park cars in a way that's connected to God's love? Is that it? Or what about the grocery store clerk who goes home tired every day? Or what about the truck drivers? Are they supposed to work in a manner that somehow drive a truck in a way that's connected to the love of God? Is that it? Hal Knight is a professor at St. Paul School of Theology, and Hal Knight is a fine Wesleyan scholar. And he puts it this way. Hal Knight writes, holiness of heart, meaning God's gift of love, holiness of heart is supposed to lead to holiness in our life. Holiness of heart, God's gift of love, is supposed to lead to holiness in our life. And that is to be manifested and made real in our work. In our works. In Dr. Knight's construct of work, there is to be something holy about our work. It's supposed to be holy, no matter what you work. It's to be holy. Probably more than any other time of the year, a new year offers us an opportunity to sit back and take stock of things in our lives. And for many of us, I think work matters. Whether you're retired or not, the vocation of retirement matters. Our work matters. And so the question becomes, how holy is your work? How holy is my work? How holy is our work? There's something in which we are to accomplish our work in a manner that reflects the love of God, no matter what our work may be. So Christmas is that giving of God's gift of love to the world. And Epiphany, which is tomorrow, is a moment where we go, aha, thank you for the gift. Now this is what I'm going to do with it. We go, oh my gosh, this is a great gift. I think I'll put it to work in this way. And we worship today on the last day of Christmas, on the eve of Epiphany, which is tomorrow. And so we come up against this really interesting story in the Gospel of Matthew. And only in the Gospel of Matthew does one of the writers bring together that moment where we go, ha, here's this gift, now I'm going to put it to work. And in this story that Matthew tells, the Magi have this urgent desire to go and meet the gift and put it to work in their lives when you back up and read the story. But who's out there wanting to kill the gift? Herod. That's where we come in today. Why do we let Herod back in this story? Have you ever thought about that? How does Herod get back in this thing? We've just had this beautiful Christmas story. We're deciding what to do with the gift. And here is Herod. Actually, you see, it's as though Matthew is giving you two options, however extreme they may be, about what you're going to do with the gift. Are you going to honor the gift and put it to work? Are you going to turn your back on the gift? So sometimes threat and dire predictions, I think people like Herod, because there's a lot of Herods out there. Sometimes there are these Herods out there in the world, and they limit our creativity in how we think we're going to work. I think they do that. I can just hear my mother saying, I can't do that. I can't monitor our lunchroom in a way that shows God's love. My mother wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean? I had a woman last night who was at our Saturday night service, and afterwards she told me, that was really interesting. She goes, I work at a nursing home, and I call bingo. And she said, I'm going to call bingo this way next week in a way that way that shows God's love. I go, really? How are you going to do that? B12. That was great. I'm going to work in that way. And when we work in that way, Herod's word, which is the worst kind of word in this story, doesn't get what? The last word. And so here in Matthew is an angel of the Lord intervening into Herod's word and calling everybody in this story back to the work of Christmas. So during this season of Christmas, leaders from the Wesleyan Covenant Association, who in February rejoiced. I saw them rejoicing. They rejoiced at the passing of the traditional plan. During this season of Christmas, they sat down with leaders from, let's just pick one, RMN, Reconciling Ministries Network. Leaders who were saddened by the vote in February. And all of these various representatives from all of these different groups sat down to do the work of trying to figure out what we need to get figured out. And they all had different ways of understanding the same thing. Keith Boyette, the man that you saw in the video, was there. Don't you suppose somebody in the group looked at everybody around the table and said, we can't do this? How can this be? This could never happen. So you have to ask yourself, what did it take to do the work of that proposal? What did it take? What does it take to do your work? Well, sometimes what it takes is what Matthew says it takes. An angel of the Lord intervenes and leads us to our work. An angel of the Lord calls us back to holy work. An angel of the Lord calls us back to holy work in our homes, with our loved ones, in our daily jobs, in our retirement, and most of all, on this day, an angel of the Lord calls us back to work in our churches. And we should be all the more thankful. Thanks be to God. Amen.